Sid says, Reverend Simon and the Holly followers. He might have meant holy followers, but I'm not. What do you think?
Yeah.
Holy's okay. Reverend Simon and the holy followers. In this confession, it dates back to the early 90s. By the way, I should say,
Go on.
I think it's a 12, definitely. And if you're eating food, it's a 15.
Okay. Right.
Is that right, Susie? Do you think?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, it dates back to the early 90s when I was training as a medic. It's a little bit...
Right, straight away.
Yeah, it's a bit Tuesday night BBC Two, isn't it?
Okay.
As part of this role and my qualification, I had a blend of written exams and practical studies, and this involved a number of elements of broad-based medicine and skills. So, as part of that, for 2 weeks, I was sent to cover night shift duties at a geriatric hospital. To picture the scene, it was a 1930s hospital with a horseshoe-shaped ward, high ceilings, wooden floors, metal beds, big windows. The ward was run like Carry On Doctor, with a matron that looked exactly like the Carry On star Hattie Jakes.
Brilliant.
Ooh, matron,
Yeah.
and so on. Although that obviously wasn't her that said that, because she was the matron. As you may guess, it was not a particularly wonderful place, but the residents were lovely. Saying that, my shift, here's the shift, started at 9 p.m. and lasted until 8 a.m. the following day.
Wowza.
That's a big one. It never went off without an issue. After 1 a.m, most nights, it was a cross between Wildlife on One and Down on the Farm.
Wow.
Noises ranged from... I'm trying to say gentle puffs of wind, and I'm not making it. Noises ranged from gentle puffs of wind to heavy drilling. Some nights we even had Elvis singing In the Ghetto. So part of my role was to carry out blood pressure checks, change bedding, and other things. One evening, and let me give you a bed panoramic view here. Well, yeah, that works. I went round the horseshoe-shaped ward and collected false teeth from 19 beds. They were placed on a tray working from left to right. After all, Hattie Jakes did have a system. Hospital quarters on the beds, everything had its place. If collected correctly, you would then have a U-shape of plastic cups with dirty teeth in, sitting pretty on the metal tray. The next stage was to take the tray to the sluice room. I've then taken out a whole paragraph about the sluice room. Yeah. I started the next stage of filling each cup with cleaning solution and water. The image here is, of course, a lovely foam top with little bits of menu for the day dancing on the top. After a long shift and a period of gentle poaching, the gnashers looked well seasoned. It was time to rinse them clean, not an easy task, a bit like holding a slimy fish with cabbage attached.
Okay.
90 minutes later, the brushed and washed sets of pearly whites were clean and fresh. Full of pride and with a spring in my step, I came out of the room with my handiwork and I started to put the teeth in clean bowls back around the room. Walking from right to left, nice and softly, I didn't want to wake the residents. The shift finished and handover started. It was more like a moan and run session with the aim of leaving quickly as the agency staff were arriving. As I walked towards the door, the residents started to wake as the breakfast round was in full flow. As they set up and tea was poured, the polished teeth were popped in. Now, I must point out that we had a range of mouths and a range of teeth missing. Some had bridges, some had complete sets, others just had a few teeth missing. It was like a ripple effect or a Mexican wave. What happened was this. Mrs. Smith started gurning, tea and toast flying in all directions, as the inserted teeth did not appear to fit. Then Mr. Adams looked as though his teeth didn't fit either, as if he'd swallowed a wasp. Mr. Wright, next to him, sounded like he had maracas in his mouth. And so it went on across the room. None of them fitted. The only person happy was Mr. Peters, sitting bang in the middle, in the centre of the room, and the penny dropped. The teeth were put back the wrong way, so instead of going from left to right, I put them back from right to left. It was a madhouse, with teeth, gums, tea and toast all over the place. I exited the hall. After 32 years, Father Simon, it's time I put my hands up and said sorry to the team that had to fish them all out again and try and tidy up my mess. I was young, and that's all I can say. I'm still hoping that maybe I can be forgiven. But let's just see. Very nice fade from Sid,
Lovely.
who's now a health and safety officer, he says. Okay.
Well,
that was a little bit unpleasant. Sister Susie from the pub.
No, Sid, it just made me feel sick. And those, can you imagine having someone else's teeth in your mouth? No, thank you. Not forgiven from me.
Okay, we're running late because Susie's being brief.
Clearly,
brother
yes.
from another gutter.
Well, I'm obviously going to forgive just because that made me laugh quicker than any other confession has done within the second paragraph.
Yes.
Well done for them on that. I mean, the problem is the system, isn't it? It's the system. It's not his fault. You know, it just goes to show you change the personnel, doesn't make a difference. If your system's wrong, that's your problem. Can't imagine how that would apply in any other walk of life. So I'm going to forgive.